Okay, so hello and welcome to our Conscious Leader Circle, where we meet once a month to support each other on our journey to heal, grow, and evolve during these changing and uncertain times. We're living through one of the greatest paradigm shifts in human history, and we need to be grounded, energized, and focused to navigate through new and existing challenges and create our greatest lives. So we're here to help bring you tools and pathways to living a centered, connected, conscious life in any circumstance. So I'm really excited to introduce our special guest, Celia Louise, to our Conscious Leader Circle this month. And the theme is engaging your chakras through Celia's Champagne Chakra System. I just love the name of her system. Celia Louise loves to share the practices that radically reset her energy and joy when she felt a deep ache inside her heart that told her something was missing in her life. That we live in a connected energy field has fascinated Celia since her days of teaching others to farm organically in Canada, California, and Indonesia. So Celia's a pioneer in every way, a true conscious leader of our time. Her second career focused on international peace, human rights, and humanitarian aid in the conflict and post-conflict zones of El Salvador, Indonesia, Pakistan, Rwanda, teaching her the truth of human resilience. Celia Louise is the author of the Champagne Chakra, 7 Steps to Elevate Your Energetic Frequency, published in May 2022, as well as the Champagne Chakra Guided Journal Series. She wrote the chapter Acknowledging Your Instincts in the international best-selling book, Evolving on Purpose, Mindful Ancestors Paving the Way for Future Generations, published in 2021. And Celia and Eileen and I were all co-authors in that phenomenal book. Celia's mission is to help her readers reconnect to their instincts, intuition, and inner joy through her writing, energy healing, and coaching. The Champagne Chakra teaches you about your elegant chakra system. You will learn to keep your energy flowing rather than getting stuck in a lower frequency that doesn't allow you to live your life as the beautiful expression it's meant to be. She shares her best practices so you can live and love your best life. So welcome, Celia. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I am super excited to be here and super excited to see both Lydia and Eileen and myself on the same screen again in a while. And I want to just pull this glass up. And this is my mother's champagne glass. It's filled with sparkling water. And it's how the Champagne Chakra came to be named. And I don't know if you can see the flute part of it is open and there are bubbles bubbling up all the way through. And when I finally figured out how to open my chakras, this is the feeling I got. And in a meditation, it came to me that it was called the Champagne Chakra when you got them all open and flowing and your energy was like bubbling joy from your perineum to your crown and out and over to everybody that you connected with. So that's how the name came about, because meditation for me for a long time was really hard. I couldn't get into it and I was so frustrated. And I finally had this beautiful meditation in a walking meditation under a couple of trees when I was learning to be a yoga teacher down in Mexico. And then I did some work with Joe Dispenza and got really much more into opening my chakras, although he calls them energy centers. So I did a lot of different things, and yoga and Reiki were my like gateways into the spiritual side of my life. I was raised in a Catholic church and to fear God. And then God just annoyed me for a couple of decades because I didn't understand what God was and I couldn't even say the word God. And so to me, I've been on this huge curious journey. And when I when I had a crash, I was working overseas in these conflict zones, and my energy became so low one year, about, I don't know, I think it was about 2013, that I literally just stayed in bed for about 3 months. Now, I'm a very healthy person, and I'm pretty high energy anyways. So for me to like get that low, and I've had some friends who have suffered through depression, and so I'm like, I get what they're feeling now. And my doctor wanted to prescribe me antidepressants, and my friend wanted me to go to therapy, and I didn't want the drugs, and I really hated the first therapy session. So I'm like, I gotta do something else. So that was when I started studying to be a Reiki master and taking yoga, the gateway drug. And I was frustrated in I would go for these Reiki sessions, and I'd come home with my mantras, and I would feel really good in the Reiki session, because I had this beautiful woman who was doing the Reiki on me, but I could never really get my chakras open. And I was frustrated by it, because I just sort of felt like, okay, there's something more to life, and I don't know what the heck it is. And I realized that, now it's like all the limiting beliefs that I had, and all the beliefs I had about the way the world worked, kept me from what I now say it was the most surprising thing that I discovered, was that, we are all connected in an energy field. And even though I had really put a lot of emphasis on that when I was an organic farmer, I'm pretty sure I relegated it all to the energy healing I did on animals, which I didn't even call Reiki back then, and the interconnectedness of plants. And I don't know, somehow, because of my Catholic upbringing, I kept like the humans outside of that bubble, myself included. So imagine my surprise when I discovered that there was this beautiful divine energy that I could connect to. And that was what shifted my belief in everything, and my ability to feel this bubbling up of inner joy, and to recreate that whenever I, got frustrated with the way things were going in the world or life. And it just really shifted things. And I still waffle back on forth. Do I call it source energy? Do I call it the divine? I just submitted another chapter to the next book in the Evolving on Purpose series that we were in, and this book is called Co-Creating with the Divine, and my chapter and my next book is called Enchanting the Divine. And it's really about being enchanted and enchanting together. So it's co-creating, but it's how we intentionally do it, and how you can really bring this beautiful feeling through your elegant chakra system that just opens up this magical energy channel that we have. And I've fallen in love with the chakra system, because it just gives me like a system and a framework for working through all the stuff that we have in our life. So, I like to say that we need to be really curious about our body chakras. So those are the first 3 chakras. So the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus chakra. You have to be really curious, and you have to engage with those chakras before the rest sort of fall into place. And I always like to say, you think about all the things that people do to feel good. They take drugs, they drink, they have sex, anything. And our body is meant to experience ecstasy, but we can create that when we connect with our beautiful chakras. And we aren't meant to, be mired in that feeling. Like, for a long time in my solar plexus, I had like, it started out about this size, of sort of a hard ball. And over a period of a couple of decades, like, I grew to feel like I had a bowling ball of pain in my solar plexus. And I actually finally went to my doctor, because he'd poke around there and he's like, there's nothing there, Celia. I'm like, oh, it hurts like hell. It's gotta be something there. So he finally sent me for an x-ray. Of course, there's nothing there. And so it wasn't until I started doing the energy work that I started realizing, okay, so my root chakra has always been pretty open. I've had great parents. My early childhood was really super happy. My mom did become an alcoholic a little later in my life, but my early years were really happy. So my root chakra has always been pretty okay. But my sacral chakra, it shut down my whole body and my whole ability to feel pleasure. I was raped when I was 12 by my camp counselor. And I didn't actually think of it as a really horrible event because I had such a major crush on him. But he was so much older than me that it was such an abuse of power that I, as an older human, I now see, okay, how that affected me. And it's shut down my sacral chakra. And so many of the women I work with, their sacral chakras and their solar plexus chakras are really, really blocked. And so being able to work with the energy and open my sacral chakra, and then this bowling ball that I was carrying in my solar plexus, because I had really sort of given up my power. And I was trying to please others and keep other people happy. And you can sort of see by the work that I did, like I used to actually believe, okay, I can go out and save the world, because this is what people do when they're hurt, right? We bury our hurt and we try to like make everything better for everybody else. So I thought, well, okay, I was a super activist in the organic farming world in Manitoba for a long time. And then I thought, oh, I just need to go and work in all these conflict zones and save the world. But I realized now we really just have to save ourselves. Because if we each change ourselves, it makes such a beautiful ripple effect on everybody else that's the way we shift and elevate into this new beautiful space that the world is going in. And that's why I love things like this, where people who are interested in this and open to it and actually consciously trying to be a better human, because that's what I try to be every day. That we can connect with each other and help each other with the lessons that we've learned. Because a long time I'm like, even the term, coming out of a Catholic background, even the term like love and light, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like I didn't get it. I didn't get that we were beautiful beings of energy and light, because I was raised to be a sinner and a consumer, like a sinner in church and a consumer at school, right? So to shift that whole perception is really, that's what happens at the root chakra. The root chakra in my book. So I have a bit of a different take on the way I describe the chakra. So this is my book, and I take everybody through, every chakra one at a time. And there's some questions. It's like a fill out book. It's not an ebook because you got to write in it. There's some questions I ask, but I really look at the root chakra as the place of awareness and perception, and trying to help people change the perceptions and the limiting beliefs and what they're aware of in how the world works, and that it's really an inside out world instead of an outside in world. I used to think that, everybody's circumstances caused everything, and that the way things were just the way things were, because that's the way I was taught. But when you look at your root chakra and realize, you're a soul having this human experience instead of a human that has a soul that might go to heaven or hell, depending on, how good you were and how often you went to confession if you were a Catholic. It just shifts everything. And so opening up that root chakra and just becoming aware of something that you weren't aware of before. It's like the aha moments in life. And I really think that these only come through conscious conversations, because it's not until we have a conversation and somebody says something that might go, oh, okay, I've never thought of it that way. And being open and curious and non-judgmental, like that's what really shifted me. Because even though I say I haven't had an open root chakra, I also had a very limited belief about how life worked. So opening my awareness to the fact that life doesn't actually work the way I was taught, and that shifted my perception of everything. And that was such a beautiful shift, And so I'm gonna take a moment before I go through the rest of the chakras. I'm gonna teach you the thing that's in my root chakra chapter, and we're gonna do something that I love to refer to as the secret squeeze. So your beautiful energetic chakra system runs right along the vagus nerve. And if you see this picture, you can see the vagus nerve goes basically from your perineum up to your brain and back down again. It's the largest nerve in your body, and it's bidirectional, and it sends from your heart to your brain more messages than your brain has ever sent to your heart. Like your brain sends more messages to your heart daily, but it's also that vagus nerve. It starts at your perineum. It goes through your organs and through your solar plexus. So this is how I get people to start engaging with their body chakras, because you got to feel this. You got to like what didn't work for me was affirmations and not understanding the energy and not understanding how the body was connected, because we are all these things, right? Like we've got the body, we've got the heart, and we've got the mind. And until you actually connect them, it just doesn't make sense, or it didn't make sense to me anyway. So that's how I teach it. So the secret squeeze, I love teaching it to groups of women because it's always kind of fun. The women go, oh, standing in line at the grocery store is going to be a lot more fun, you know? So if you've been ever taught a Kegel, just sort of forget that, but think about it. Forget how you were taught it, because the secret squeeze is this gentle, sensual squeeze that starts at your perineum. So you're using your lower pelvic floor muscles, the muscles that you would use if you were trying to stop peeing or you were practicing a Kegel. But you know, the Kegels are always kind of like doctor directed, and they're kind of hard, and you know, you're thinking, oh, I gotta like exercise the inside of my body so I don't pee when I'm an old lady. But you want this is the start of the bubbles from your perineum up. And Dr. Joe teaches this, like Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches this at his meditation things, and in such a male way. And I would just love to have a personal conversation with him and teach him my way, because his is like, you push up against somebody else and you're like moving your energy up and breathing really hard. And it's like, oh, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, oh, let's just do this soft and sensual. Let's just take it back a minute. So we squeeze that muscle at the bottom of our perineum, like the muscles that you would squeeze to stop peeing. And think of it this way. You are moving, that's the root, that's your root energy. And you want to move that energy up as high as you can go. And once you get practicing it, you'll be able to feel a little tingle in your third eye. And you do it like, think of it as, when I teach my journaling and meditation, anything like that, I want you to fall in love with yourself. So think of this as just you're squeezing on the inhale. And so if you can breathe deeply, I like to say squeeze and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release the squeeze and release the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's this beautiful rhythm. And so you squeeze again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And witness, just continue squeezing and breathing on the inhale and releasing the squeeze on the exhale. And just start to imagine that you are moving your beautiful root chakra energy up. It's mixing with your sacral chakra energy. And then it's connecting to your beautiful solar plexus. It's hitting your heart and then your throat. And then it's making your third eye tingle. And it's just sort of bubbling out your head as you release. And you just continue to do that, squeezing on the squeezing those beautiful perineum muscles, those pelvic floor muscles. They really make a difference in your life. And this will help you from, not needing to go to the bathroom as often, because it is building muscle. But the way I teach it, I want you to just enjoy that sensual feeling. I mean, we are beings that have this beautiful body, and this women especially, I mean, our inner goddess parts are meant for pleasure. And so to just do this, like, this is the one thing that I help women like who have a really busy mind. When you can just take 5 minutes and do this, it will shut your mind off, because it's taking you out of your thinking and into the pleasure of your body. And you can do this anywhere. You know, you're sitting in a meeting and somebody's dragging on and they're boring you. You're just like, I'm just going to do this. You're standing in line. Lineup's really long. I'm just going to do this. So it's a way to like fill your body with pleasure by yourself, anytime, anywhere. And I really feel like this is such a beautiful energy cleanser for your chakras. So you just bringing it up. And I like to count to 5 on an inhale and count to 5 on an exhale, because that gives you a breath cycle of 10, like a 10-second breath cycle, which is 6 breaths per minute, which is really, really healthy for your vagus nerve. And to try to breathe is, you know, as deeply into your lungs as possible, but I want you more to focus on the secret squeeze and making it sensual and just feeling it. I mean, there is a woman somewhere on YouTube. I watched this video of this woman who's like doing yoga orgasms. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure she's doing this. So just to bring your body into pleasure and to connect with those body chakras, to just remember, oh my God, I don't need to be, you know, frustrated and in pain. I can reset. This is my body reset. And to just bring, you know, that breath in, count, squeeze, and bring it in for up to 5 and feel it go out, and then release for 5. So just to feel that is something I wanted to sort of start this off with. And you guys can continue to do that while I'm talking and going through the rest of the chakras. Or you can just come back to it anytime you want. Does anybody have any questions about that? Have I explained it, and can you feel what I'm talking about? Okay, no questions about it. Oh, Eileen has a question. Awesome.
It's more of a feedback. So as I did this, I felt this sharp shooting pain that kind of sparkled up my both sides of my vertebra in my lower back, and it was like, oh. So I don't know what moved there, but it's ironic, because the last few days I've had this tightness in my lower back where I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm so tight. So I don't know what that is. Well, I am concerned about 2 very close people in my life. And it's been, it's kind of a 911 call for them. You know, it's pretty gnarly. And so as much as I try not to internalize the information I get or how I engage with them, not to let it kind of affect me, I think it has been. And this morning was, crazy. I literally had to throw myself in the shower and let water run down my back so that I could get my head together so that I could join you guys, because I was really looking forward to this. Yeah, so I don't know what that means, but I just wanted to
so is it painful? Like, you said 2 things. You said it was a sharp pain, but then you also said it was sparkles. So yeah,
like pins and needles that just went up my spine on the side, and it just kind of woke me up, and something moved. Does
it feel better?
It does, actually. So I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is like we do get stuck energy down there, and we have like the human body is a miracle maker, really. Like when we focus on making ourselves feel good and giving ourselves the gift of this divine intelligence, that we have a divine intelligence in our body that can heal anything. And when you connect this whole beautiful energetic system that we have that runs through the vagus nerve and the chakra system, and when you set the intention, it's amazing the shifts that you can feel. And really, like at the base of your spine, that's where, when they say, you've opened your kundalini, like that is a little burst of energy that literally comes from the base of your spine and goes up your spine. And I experienced that feeling when I was doing a yoga retreat in Goa in India. And I was just like, oh my God, it just feels.
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, oh, so it just makes me realize there's just so much more that we can be gifting ourselves.
So true.
And
So true.
so yeah, so this practice I find for women is so good. And it does strengthen the muscles, but in this beautiful sensual way. And we are sensual beings. And I would never, for a long time, I'm like, I would never even use the word sensual in my life because it was like so far away from my Catholic, upraising. But now I realize, oh no, that's okay. It's actually safe. And my meditation teacher in this beautiful program called the Radiance Sutras, he says that our senses are companions to the divine. And this is true. And so to feel and allow yourself to feel all the beautiful senses that your body has that are gifts to you as your soul experiences this body in this lifetime, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing you can do. And so that's the secret squeeze. That's like my favorite thing to teach people. Guys like it too. This is not just for women. I had one male client who said, oh my God, Celia, that was the coolest thing because it felt like all the loose pieces of me that I'd left scattered all over the world have just come home to me. So everybody experiences it a little bit different, but for women, we have this beautiful internal system that I want everybody to like awaken and connect to again, because it's so connected to our chakras and our vagus nerve and our ability to feel the ecstasy that life is giving us without needing drugs or alcohol.
So do men stop their pee the same, engaging in the same way as women do?
They do, yeah.
Oh, okay. That good to know.
My book has a little I'm really into visuals, so whoops. Where is it? So I had somebody like that knew more about anatomy than me sort of show the 3 different phases. It's kind of maybe hard to tell, but the pelvic floor, the first and the second and the third, like how it moves up when you're making the squeeze. And I asked him, because he was a guy, I said, does this anatomy thing work for you guys too? He's like, yes. So
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Because I do realize we as women can try to get ourselves better and evolve better and understand more and be more empathetic and recycle the nasty energies of the toxic male energy. But it does help when men do their work too. It just makes it so much easier when men participate as well.
It does. And
yeah.
even though my book is pink and kind of looks like it's for women, I have a lot of men that have loved my book because I've sort of taken the woo side out of it, and I've matched almost everything that I put in there with science, because I am deeply curious that way. I'm like, okay, so because there's been so much new science since we were all born that has come up and talked about how the world works, how the body works. When I even just thinking about the heart, you know, it was only in 1991, I'm jumping ahead to a new chakra, but it was only in 1991 that the 40,000 neurons that make up the heart brain were discovered. And that wasn't even published until 1994. So, you know, my daughter was born in 1991. So all of us were raised by people who had no clue that our heart sends more messages to our brain than our brain sends to our heart. So we were raised by people who only believed in, you know, the power of our mind and our brain, and that there was only, you know, you were either smart or you weren't, right? But that's just not true. So I really have enjoyed like digging into the science side of this and matching the science with the ancient wisdom and how closely related they are. Like what the ancient people knew when they didn't have all this is just
amazing.
Yeah. It is.
It's like they did stuff that I sometimes wonder, did they know what they were doing, or they was guided through some source? It must have been.
Well, I think it is guided. You know, a lot of the teachers that I listen to really do talk like the energy is created. Everything in the world that we want is here now. We just have to tap into it. So it's like the Wright brothers figured out how to get the plane up in the air. That information was always here. They were just the ones who tapped into the divine source that is wisdom and love. That's what I think of it, wisdom and love. And that we can all tap into it when we really open up our energy channels and stop thinking of ourselves as these limited bodies. When we start mixing the fact that we have a soul that lives in this amazing body, and when we really connect everything, and like our whole is so much better than like our parts. When we really connect it all together, we can connect to that divine wisdom that the ancients used to connect to, because there wasn't all the distractions that there are nowadays.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, that's magnificent, Celia. What we could have a whole retreat on this.
And I just realized I've been talking forever, and I've only got to the root chakra.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, we started a little bit late, and I know I'm mindful of everybody's time till 12, but it's 11:46, so we still have a little bit of time. So I'd love for everybody to stay on, but I understand if you have to leave at 12. So yes, this is a beautiful sharing of integrating mind, body, spirit, literally, as we evolve from an intellectually based paradigm into a soul-based or spiritually based mind, body, spirit paradigm. And the way Celia has brought it together with understanding how to share the connection with the physical and the energetic, with the heart, you know, and the mind, you know, and truly holistic. And as a conscious leader, Celia, this is so important at this time, because this is exactly what we are evolving with as into what I call the paradigm of light. And so there's different ways that we can understand our evolution at this time and connect with exercises and tools to support our growth in a holistic way. And what you've presented is, I just absolutely love. And I have many wonderful things to share about that, but I will let you continue. Anything else from the group? Any other comments, insights, anything that anyone wants to share about Celia's talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to make it. I just got up for a few minutes, and I don't know, because I had to run to the. Anyways, I had to get up for a minute. And I noticed when I did the exercise, I felt I could connect with the lower chakra more than when I was sitting. It was just interesting. So, because I could feel, I don't know, it was just more open at the bottom when I was standing versus sitting. So I just wanted to make a comment on that.
Thank you, Jenny.
That's a really good point, Jenny. And I often, when I talk to people about trying this, especially because I just say, you know, this is a way you can meditate. And if you do this lying in bed for 5 minutes before you go to sleep and 5 minutes before you get out of bed in the morning, it sets your energy for both of those things. And I find lying flat or standing, because I'm standing right now, is much easier for me than when I'm seated. When I really do find, not everybody sits in meditation, because that's just not the right way to do it for a lot of people. It might work, for some people, but you're actually, especially as a woman, you're allowed to move, you're allowed to lay down. You don't be restricted by these things, because I do find that our chakras do they're more scrunched, and all your organs are too when you're sitting. So.
We're more scrunched, but we have a uterus. So, and the uterus, I always like to share, is one of the most amazing organs. It's a muscle, and an organ, and all the 12 major meridians go through the uterus. So women really feel, right? Like women really feel. We have the womb of life, of regeneration, whether we have children or not. We have this organ, which is a muscle, and that is connected to every energy system in the body and in a very specific way. So to have a relationship with our physical body, as Celia is teaching, in a way that not just honors the body, but has a sensual frequency relationship with the body that activates the aligned energy flow in the body, is something very magnificent and special. So thank you, Celia, for sharing that. Anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just quickly go through the rest of the chakras so that you can see how, what I teach in my book. So as I said, the root is all about your awareness and your perception. And the sacral is the home of your wonder and your imagination. The solar plexus is home for your instincts and your action. And if your solar plexus is blocked, you can't feel your instincts. And that was my problem for a long time. And my sacral also. I mean, I shut my imagination down, and just all sorts of wonderful things happen in these body chakras. And to open them is the biggest gift you can give yourself. And then once they're open, you move up. You move from being curious about your body to being courageous in your heart. And this is where you expand your energy, because your heart is 5,000 times more magnetic than your brain. And so you want to expand your energy, and the feeling here, like the inner joy feeling and the feeling of divine love, not romantic love, not family love, but divine love and true inner joy. That's where you get, so you move from the ecstasy in your body to the euphoria in your heart. And opening your heart chakra that's another gift. So you've given yourself 2 gifts now. And you have to be courageous here. And the root of the word heart is core, which is French for courage. And the only 2 things that humans are supposed to be afraid of, according to somebody's research, whose name I can't remember, is that we're afraid of loud noises and falling. Nothing else is a true fear, because fear is really just the opposite of love. And when you step in to the knowing, the inner knowing that we are divine love beings, we come from love, we are love, we return to love. When you step into that, the fear takes a backseat. It's like no longer running the show. And then the upper chakras, and these are, so I always think the body chakras, those are the ones where the energy is going down into beautiful Mother Earth. The heart chakra is this important bridge between the body chakras and the mind chakras. So the throat, here you want to be, this is the start of the connection to everything and everybody. So you want to, at your throat, you want to elevate. So we're starting to elevate, and we're starting to become what I like to call enchanted. And we do this by giving ourselves permission to use words that express the kind of life we want to live. So instead of complaining about things, we step up, we elevate, and we talk about our dreams and our desires, and we step into that person that we really want to be in this lifetime. And we step out of that person who's maybe lived a little bit as a victim or just lived a little bit smaller than we really are, because we are these magnificent beings having this human experience. So the expression, give yourself permission to express yourself in a way that brings your life to that enchanted place that we are all here for. And then the third eye is all about your intuition and your curiosity. It's like, this is where you'll start feeling tingles, and it will make you more curious about life than you've ever been. And the more curious you are, the more you just like, oh, you know, maybe this is possible. Maybe this is possible. So instead of all the roadblocks, all the, no, I can't do this. Oh no, shouldn't do that. You like, be curious. Oh, what if? Ooh, let's see where that path leads me, you know? And then the crown chakra. And that is really like, that's the wisdom and connection to the divine love and wisdom that we all come from. And to have that opened, and those once you open your lower chakras, these ones become naturally open. Like when I do my energetic trapped emotion removal, it's mostly all in the body chakras, where things and the heart, where things are stuck, and then we get this beautiful open feeling. So each chakra has a beautiful purpose. And when you engage with the whole system, your whole life becomes, you know, more expansive. You become more loving of yourself and therefore of others that are in your life. And, you know, one of my favorite sayings is namaste, right? The light in me sees the light in you. And you start to see even the people who are, you know, have like an evil bent or something like that. You can see inside them, there's a spark of divinity. They can't figure it out. But it makes your connection to them and your ability to like deal with the harder people in your life, it makes your ability to actually see, okay, their soul is so buried and it's screaming to get out, but it has no idea how to get out. And so for me, it's the chakra system that opens us all up to this more beautiful, expansive way of living. So yeah, I encourage you to do whatever you can every day to engage with your chakras and to open them up and to fall in love with yourself and your life.
Well, that's magnificent, Celia. And these are things that we can do with ourselves, by ourselves, or ourselves. You don't have to initially, you know, announce it to the world. It's cultivating what Celia mentioned, which I love talking about, is the inner knowing. And through relationship with self, through having these sorts of experiences that Celia is giving us tools to help us have, then we own who we are. Like we connect, we become familiar, we return to who we are, and then we can evolve from there, right, in our own unique way. But creating that first, you know, awareness, as Celia was saying, that connection, or as I like to say, you know, being really centered in our core energy, really connected with our essence and our power, and really conscious of our thoughts, our beliefs, our choices, of who we are and how am I living and what am I really doing when I'm making choices. All comes back to having relationship with self. And this is the beautiful thing that Celia is teaching and sharing with us, how to do that in her own unique way with these incredible tools and her beautiful book. And you have a workbook as well, right, Celia?
I have 12, you know, last winter. So I moved to Saskatoon and it was dark and cold last winter. And I literally had this magical 3-month period where I would wake up at 3 a.m. and just write, like, and I love to write in a pink ink pen, and I had my candle and my little morning latte, and I would just sit in the dark and the quiet in the snow, which just like makes the whole city so quiet. And so I wrote the book, and then I did like 7 guidebooks for each chakra so that people could do guided journaling 1 month at a time. So it's a 30-day journal, and to really get into whatever chakra they wanted to get into. And then I did one on meditation, one on joy, one on gratitude, one on forgiveness, and one on the heart's desires. So it's literally, you could journal with me for a whole year. And it's just a way, because I find I do two things that I love to do. One, I meditate every day to stay connected to something greater than myself, and I journal every day to stay connected to myself. There's that beautiful act of writing that really helps us. And so many people, you know, oh, what do I write? Like, if you're not a writer. So it's nice to have like a question on a little sort of, it's like the chakra system is this guideline for the body, and my journals are a guideline for keeping you connected and falling in love with yourself.
This is amazing. So share with us how people can connect with you, the wonderful services you provide, your books, your workbooks. Do you have a website, any kind of email? How can the world find and work with you?
Okay, so my website is celialouise.com. So CeliaLouise.com. And I do work individually with people to help them clear their chakras, you know, and even if just a one-off call or a whole series where we really dive in and get your whole chakra system all cleaned up. And my books, I have a little online store that's called the Champagne Chakra, but my books are also available on Amazon, in every Amazon location. So it's Celia Louise on Amazon. And then I'm on Instagram, and I often do reels, and I changed my Instagram name since we first started talking about this. So it used to be Love Your Life by Celia, but now it's actually Celia_the Champagne Chakra, because I thought I need to just make this easier.
We evolve, we all evolve.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have a YouTube channel, so you can see, there's not a lot on it, but there's a couple of sessions where I'm helping women remove trapped emotions from their body. And that's kind of where people want to go and say, well, what would that session, you know, what's an energy clearing with me look like? That, and then a Facebook page too. So Celia Louise is sort of my go-to.
Well, this is wonderful.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I would love to invite you to come do a retreat with us here at my retreat center, and our international and Canadian friends can join us. It'd be very exciting because we have crystals growing on our land, and to work with the type of exercises that Celia is sharing, with the serenity and peacefulness and tranquility of nature, you know, the billion-year-old crystals from the Canadian Shield, and the horses and the trees. I think it would be a very special experience for all of us. So we'll have to talk more. Eileen has her hand up.
That's fantastic. I love what I'm hearing. Celia, do you do group workshops?
I can do group workshops. Yeah, I don't have that listed on my website, but yes, I have done them, and I love to do them. So yes, happy to do those too.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right.
Wonderful. Anything else? Any other questions, comments for Celia before we go into? We end our Conscious Leader Circle. I do a long distance Reiki sending to the group for maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And if anybody, or if Celia, we hadn't really planned it, if you wanted to do a guided meditation or a visualization through the chakras, or we can just have silence, but that's how we end our session, so that we are centered, connected, and conscious, going back out into the world, and knowing that inner knowing that no matter what happens in life, as Celia mentioned, the tools, the wisdom, the path is there for us to always find a solution, to find our way through it. So we release the fear in the midst of uncertainty, and we connect with our intuition, our inner knowing, and our inner power. And all of us who are committed to our personal development at this time are conscious leaders of first ourselves, of our lives, and then as we expand and radiate out our energy and who we are in the world, we become conscious leaders of the world. So there's no insignificant action. You're all very, very powerful. And the world needs each of you to be conscious of your greatness. Anything else before we go into the long distance Reiki session?
So instead of doing a guided meditation, I would like to just read a sutra from the Radiant Sutras, and then you can take us directly into Reiki, and people can just drop into whatever's going on in their system right now. But this is one of my favorite books. If I had no other books in the world, this would be it. So this is Sutra 32.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to send the long distance Reiki at the same time you're reading.
Okay.
Right. We do it at the same time.
You can do it at the same time, and
all
mine
right,
will end before you, probably.
Sorry?
Mine will end before you, but yeah, start it, go for it.
How long is yours? 5 minutes? A few minutes?
Oh no, it's one page. It's 3 paragraphs.
Okay, but we can just savor it. We can just savor it. I love reading slowly, that sort of spiritual material or poetry, sort of like just sipping on the champagne, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm just going to set it up. So let's all take a nice deep breath. And imagine yourself in a beautiful place, in perfect health in every way, and that infinite river of golden white light coming in, healing every cell in your body. Celia?
Okay. Sutra 32. Strong or soft, wild or serene. Wherever breath flows, there's a song. Hear its whisper touching the face, singing in the throat, dancing spirals in the sanctuary of your heart. In this practice of listening, a moment may come when you just want to lie down. This is a doorway. Surrender. Fall into the wide open embrace of life. You are the instrument breath is playing. All the meditations you have ever loved are vibrating in this luxurious hum, continuing even in sleep and dreams. This is your school, just you and infinity. The texture of the self is untamed freedom.
So let's all take a nice deep breath. Release any tension we've been holding. Just feel that beautiful energy flowing through you. Remembering all of Celia's wise teachings and beautiful words. So what we do is I stay longer at the end of the session if anybody wants to stay and chat. So any last comments before we finish our session officially?
I just want to mention, I love the reading that you did. The Reiki, and that was wonderful. I could just feel like it felt like a shower of like words and energy. The words created an energy. I could feel like the chakra here, the throat chakra, and your words were just wrapping it up like a present around me. Like it was just like a waterfall on my body with those words, right? Because we know the opposite of how life can be when you feel like you're being dumped on in negative ways. So this was just like the opposite of it. So it was just wonderful. I love that little recording, just that piece, because I can almost do that every day. So that was wonderful. Thank you for that combination.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing, Jenny. Go ahead, Celia.
I was just saying thank you. You're welcome. It's great. I love, it's such a beautiful book to read from. And I always think that when I read to people from that book, it's like adult reading time. Children are often read to, but adults are not often, and we need it too. Absolutely. And I'm happy to stay around. I'm happy to stay around too. I don't have to bolt. So
okay.
Okay, well then thank you for everyone for taking time out today out of your busy schedules and joining us. And thank you, Celia Louise, for being a great conscious leader of our time and sharing your very unique, powerful, and important ways to connect with our inner self, activate our energy, and return to wholeness.